Hello, I'm Blue, and today I will be starting a new series where I learn to draw something in a week. But before I start, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Squarespace will help you create beautiful websites from galleries to stores to even personal blogs. As an artist, having a portfolio is very important for clients to be able to see your work and reach out to you. I lost all my art files about 2 weeks ago. That means I lost all my best work that I would have put into a portfolio if I had one at the time. So I decided to create a portfolio using Squarespace. I'm not very tech savvy, so I spent about 30 minutes throwing this together, and I already think it looks pretty professional with their already made templates that I used. Squarespace is nice enough to offer you guys 10% off of your next purchase with my coupon code BlueBiscuits. Please check them out and use my coupon at squarespace.com/bluebiscuits. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and now onto the video. A very popular question is, how do I get better at art? And the answer is always practice, and things will get easier for you, but no one really tells you how to practice, where to do studies, or even how to do studies. They just kind of dump that knowledge onto you. So I'll be doing a study every day for a week, and I'll be showing you how I broke down everything, so basically learn with me. This week is anatomy. I always tend to stick to the exact same pose. I know a little bit about anatomy already since I've been drawing for a while, so I'll give you some of the tips that I've learned from all the past studies that I've had. The first tip being break everything into tips. It's a lot easier to draw things when you're drawing them in basic shapes like cylinders and cubes. Break everything down in your own way so that you'll understand. Number 2, we think of everything in 3D, so when you're breaking down the anatomy into shapes, think of those shapes as 3D shapes. If you have everything 3D in your brain, it will be a lot easier to do angles, and it'll also be a lot easier to do perspective. Tip number 3 is use yourself as reference. You don't necessarily have to take a picture of your body, but you have a body and you know what's comfortable. So when figuring out a pose, try imagining yourself in that position. Is your leg comfortable? Is this where you put your hand? Would your leg be able to bend like that? I do this a lot, especially with sitting positions. It'll help the pose look a lot more natural. Tip number 4 is use reference. This is very, very important. I'd say use reference from real life people, then you can get the anatomy better, but you can use reference from screenshots from shows, like pictures on Pinterest. There's a lot of reference that you can use. Number 5 would be plan out where your foot and hands are going to be. So I always draw a circle where I'm going to put my hand, and then that way it's easier to draw in the elbow and the upper arm for the rest of the arm. I do that with feet as well. It will help so that your arms are not out of position or too long or anything like that. And number 6 is anatomy does not have to be perfect. You can get away with having odd anatomy and still have amazing art. Please don't stress too much about anatomy or overthink it. Knowing just the basics is good enough. I started off by breaking down his anatomy into simple shapes, so I broke his anatomy into cylinders. Like I said, that's easier for me. The shapes that I use make sense for me, but you have to find out what makes sense for you. If I could give advice, draw over a picture and try breaking it down like that instead of just trying to freehand it first. So after I broke down his anatomy, I freehand him to the side. That way I could get kind of the positions right in my head. I use my outlines as reference basically. I also found it a lot easier to start with the torso when I'm drawing anatomy, like the base, because if I tend to start with the head or another part of the body, they are too big or just kind of out of proportion. Like every picture I've ever started, if I start with the head, halfway through the drawing I have to make his head smaller. I really went all out today. I decided to concentrate on torsos and the upper body because a lot of my drawings are of busts and headshots, and I do tend to do the same thing over and over again. So if I could spice up the anatomy, that'd be pretty cool. Again, I broke down her anatomy into shapes that I understand, but I took if you see, I drew like the stripe down the middle of her chest, so that's why I know the center of her torso is. I did this because like I'm thinking of her torso as a 3D object. So her torso is going to have a front side and back side and that kind of stuff. So if I'm drawing it from a different angle, this would make it a lot easier. So after I've broken down her anatomy, I draw her to the side. I freehand basically. While I was drawing this, I realized that the big anatomy difference between the guy I drew yesterday and the girl I'm drawing today. Like her anatomy is a lot smaller than what his is. Like her arms are a lot longer and like slimmer and stuff compared to his. It's very interesting. Yeah, and I'm just redrawing everything using my lines as reference. Oh my god, today was very difficult, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure if it's because she was wearing clothes that was kind of throwing me off, but I had a lot of trouble breaking down her anatomy, like especially her crotch area. I had no idea what was going on there. I redrew it like 3 times and then I realized, no, this is not gonna work. Like, what is this even supposed to look like? How does that even attach to the body? It confused me. So I decided to do a crotch study. I took a different reference and I broke down her crotch area, and I realized it looks like underwear. It looks like a 3D piece of underwear. So here I am drawing 3D undergarments. After I finished her, I decided to do another guy's like crotch area, and there's a big difference between a woman's crotch area and a man's. Like a guy's is so like box-like, while a woman's is like really like round, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like if I take the reference away, it's like underwear on the screen. Yeah, but after I did that, her anatomy was a lot easier to break down, and I kind of understand it, I guess. I was kind of burnt out today from drawing the same thing for 3 days straight, so I decided I was going to do a lighting study. So I was going to put the picture into grayscale and just like concentrate on light and dark areas, basically. I didn't do this in too much detail because, like I've said before in my previous videos, when I'm painting I want the shape to stand out more rather than details. I didn't even realize, but I didn't have to tear down his anatomy to be able to redraw it, so that was pretty cool. I feel like I had a lot better understanding of the shapes and the form afterwards. Yeah, I drew these at 3 o'clock in the morning because I had forgot to do my studies for the day. Yeah, okay, that was pretty dumb. That was pretty dumb, I'm not gonna lie. Today was not my day, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure if there's a lack of sleep from yesterday or me having to draw naked people for 5 days straight now, but I really wasn't happy with anything that I was drawing. They looked fine. I mean, they look fine to me now that I'm looking back at them, but at the time I was really not happy with how things are coming out. This happens a lot. It's okay if you're not feeling art that day. That doesn't mean your art is being bad. That could just mean you're just being a bit hard on yourself right now. So take a break and draw something else, or draw something different that you've never drawn before, or just don't draw it all that day. Just take a break. It's okay. It happens to everybody. I actually had a good night's sleep, so I was feeling super motivated to draw my naked people. I decided to try and break down perspective. These had clothes on, so I was kind of nervous at first, but they ended up being a lot easier than what I thought they were. I mean, the girl before she was kind of difficult, but I at least didn't struggle that much. Yeah, and my underwear study seemed to have worked because like I kind of understood where the crotch would sit and like the bottom part of the body. Feeling very confident, so I decided to carry on and I drew figures without breaking them down at all. That was pretty cool. It was a lot easier except the hands. Please do not look at these hands. Oh wow, wow, yeah. I'll do like a hand study sometime, not right now. Yeah, and I'm very happy with today's study. Today was very easy. I felt very comfortable drawing my naked people since I've been drawing them every day for like an entire week. I didn't even have to think too hard when I was drawing these bodies. Like, I had broken down the anatomy in my brain, so when I drew everything it was a lot easier. Like, I understood everything basically. I think I need to work more on my basic shapes though, because I see they aren't as perfect as I'd like them to be. But I am very happy with where I came in. I'm very happy with where I came in this week. Yeah. This is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out Squarespace. I have them linked in the description. Again, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!